I don't think I made it clear just how popular Dragon Quest III was. It cleared 1 million copies on launch day, 3 million in the first week. It held the top spot on sales charts from February 1988 all the way until May. There were 300 truancy arrests because Japanese children were skipping school to go begin their Dragon Quest III adventure. It got to the point where Enix as a company decided that it was best for them to release future Dragon Quest games on the weekends from then on out. It was hugely popular. Many call the RPG a touchstone of that entire generation of games, which is incredible. Great job to anyone involved. I honestly don't know how we go up from here, which is... oh god. How... Where do we go from here? About 2 months after development wrapped up on 3, work began on 4. So around January of '88, Koichi Nakamura and Yuji Horii were in agreement that they created a battle system in the previous entry that did not need to be improved upon. And they had completed their story with the conclusion of the last game. Both creatives agreed it was time to start fresh. This next game was set to have a completely unrelated story, far removed from the previous 3 games. And most intriguingly, a new approach to the RPG battles that had just been perfected. In an interview after launch, Yuji Horii had this to say: "Up to DQ3, in a certain sense, we had been modeling Dragon Quest on earlier RPGs, trying to take the very best of them and present them in an accessible way for players. However, with DQ4, there was no model. We were faced with the task of creating something entirely new on our own. That's how we got the idea of implementing an AI battle system." Oh boy, we'll certainly talk more about that battle system. But there was a big push internally at Chunsoft to carve a new, untested path for the series moving forward. Dragon Quest, at least in Japan, was a bona fide successful franchise. We had a trilogy of games and fan expectations to go along with that. It's clear that Nakamura and Horii felt a responsibility to keep the series fresh. But god, were they nervous about alienating their established fan base. After the ritual staff retreat where the Enix team would go on a small vacation to brainstorm ideas, the whole of Dragon Quest IV started to come together. It wasn't long before February 11th, 1990 arrived, and it brought the much anticipated start of the Zenithinian trilogy. Did Horii and Nakamura's new gamble pay off? One way or another, we'll get our answer today. This is Dragon Quest IV. Children have been going missing as of late in the town of Izmit, disappearing in a puff of smoke before our very eyes. This has reached the kingdom of Burland, with the king himself putting his personal guard up to the task.
You must have heard the rumor that children have been vanishing recently. Find the cause of these disappearances and report to me. Go, my soldiers! Among
the king's soldiers is Ragnar, our main man for this tale. He makes his way to Izmit and hears of a man who's lost his mind kept in the town's jail. Interestingly, the kids around town say that Alex is their pal, but when Ragnar speaks to him, he just says nonsense.
Yes, I'm Alex. Monsters are coming. I'm scared!
Back in Burland, a woman has been searching for her husband who has recently gone missing. And after telling the woman of Alex, she insists on accompanying Ragnar back to Izmit.
It's you, isn't it?
Who are you, ma'am?
Don't you recognize me? I'm Flora, your wife. Don't you even remember this?
Flora?
Yes, it's me.
Alex, now back to his senses, passes on some information to Ragnar that he got from the children who would visit him. Eventually, this information points our main man to this secluded tower west of the village. The suspicions were true, as a wizard can be seen dragging a child further into the tower. As Ragnar rushes to the bottom, another one of Burland's soldiers has collapsed.
Ragnar, I'm nearing my end. Listen well, somewhere in this world, the ruler of evil is about to resurrect. Also, according to a prophecy, the hero who shall defeat him is growing up. The evil ones intend to destroy the hero while he or she is growing and still weak. Ragnar, save all children.
In the next room, the abducted children are being held captive by the wizard and his monster companion. After Ragnar strikes them down, this wizard tells of how he is not the end of this.
I'm sure the other monsters will seek out and destroy the hero. all mankind will eventually be offered up to the ruler of evil. I'll see you in the evil world.
Ragnar frees the children and returns them to their homes. He then heads back to his home, and as a reward, the king promises anything he desires.
You intend to find and protect the hero who is still a child. I see. You'll have my full support.
Ragnar, with the King of Burland's blessing, sets off. Yes, your eyes do not deceive you. Chapter 1. In an attempt to shake up the status quo, Dragon Quest IV is not one continuous adventure like the previous games. After completing a quest or solving the issue that's been presented to you, that chapter will end and you'll move on to another chapter. A new setting, an entirely new section of the map, and fresh characters. Personally, I like the experimentation with chapters. I think this is exactly the kind of shakeup I wanted from Dragon Quest stories. Chapter 1 puts the spotlight on a character who we can only assume will be more important later on in the story, but it also brilliantly sets up the threat of the evil one and the hero who will one day defeat him. It's the same setup we've seen since the beginning, but now we get to see even more of the supporting cast, which is what I've been yearning for. My fingers are crossed, so let's see how this goes in the next chapter.
Elena, your tutor informed me you're planning a journey to test your strength. I forbid it. You're the princess of this country. I won't allow you to venture into the world where monsters lurk. Never go outside this castle. Is that clear?
Alina, the tomboy princess of Santeem Castle, dreams of proving her strength, but as we heard, her father doesn't think a princess should be concerned with things such as this. And it's not just her father.
Princess, why are you such a tomboy? Your late mother was so refined. As your tutor, I feel responsible for how you've turned out.
Alina doesn't have many people to turn to, as we see. It's not out of malice, however. Those in the castle walls just wish for Alina's safety, like Christo.
Princess Alina, your tutor Bray told me about your plan to go out alone. That is so reckless. If something happens to you, I mean the king will be devastated.
Frustrated by the rules and judgment she faces, Alina kicks open a hole in her bedroom's wall to escape the castle. As she trudges her way to the neighboring town, her tutor Bray and her friend Christo catch up to go with her on this journey. Our virgining group runs into a few situations that allow Alina to prove her strength. The village of Tinn sacrifices young girls to a monster. The village can't stand up to this threat, but Alina's party volunteers to be the sacrifice so they can kill the monster and save other girls from being eaten. They save an actress playing a princess from bandits, and after being rescued, this woman says that she was only doing it because people treated her better when she pretended to be a princess. These three amigos are having a grand old time on their journey, but as they travel, a soldier from Santeem catches up to the party and warns Alina that her father is sick. The king has mysteriously become mute, but Alina quickly finds some mystical goopy stuff in a nearby tower and saves her father.
I can speak! I can speak! You did! I thank you. I had terrible dreams. At first, I intended to keep them to myself, but I kept having the same dreams over and over again. I became worried, so I decided to tell the council about them. Then I lost my voice. Something terrible may be about to happen. Travel the world and see what's happening. Ray and Christo, I place Elena's safety in your hands.
After arriving in the King of Endor, Alina enters the tournament after hearing that the king has promised his daughter's hand in marriage to the winner, and a ruthless man named Necrocero is poised to sweep the competition. Alina shows off her skills by besting the other contestants and finds herself in the final bout with only Necrocero left to face.
Where is he? Bring Necrocero now! What? Necrocero is missing? I can't wait for him forever. I declare Princess Alina the winner of this tournament.
Princess, good going.
Princess Alina, congratulations on your victory.
Just as the group is preparing to go on their next adventure, another Santeem soldier approaches them in a huff, pleading for them to return to the castle immediately. But with no other information given, Alina, Bray, and Christo rush home only to find Santeem Castle completely deserted. No soldiers, no citizens, and most importantly, Alina's father is missing as well. Meet Taloon, a man from the village of La Canaba. He's a hard-working fellow who spends his days working in a weapon shop to provide for his family. Taloon's dream is to become the most successful merchant in the land, but he's stuck in a bit of a rut. His daily routine is waking up, getting his lunch from his wife, checking on the old man down the street who can't walk, helping him by literally pushing him to the church in town. Then after that, he clocks in for his shift at the weapon shop. Boss comes by, gives him his meager restitution for the day, then he heads across the walkway back to his house. He says hello to his son and his wife and gets some sleep so he can do it all over again tomorrow. But Taloon begins to grow tired of this hamster wheel life. One day, he makes his way out into the world to fulfill his dream some way, somehow. After finding himself defusing a civil war between the kingdom of Bon Malmo and the castle town of Endor, Taloon bumps into a merchant in the city who is willing to sell his shop for a whopping 35,000 gold. And after raising the money, the shop is his. Taloon is then able to move his wife and his child to Endor for a better life. Taloon then spends the next few days going out and scavenging for weapons and armor for his wife to sell back at the shop. He has become the business owner he always wanted to be. But one day, Taloon stumbles across a half-completed cave. The old man inside tells of how he began this excavation long ago when he dreamed of traveling to the east for treasure and adventure. He would need 60,000 gold pieces to finish the job, but it's just not feasible. Taloon agrees to pick up where the old man left off and raise the money himself. Thankfully, the King of Endor has submitted a big order for Taloon to stock up the guard's armory, and after completing it, the king conveniently awards Taloon 60,000 gold. With that money, Taloon helps the old man in the cave finish the excavation, opening up easy travel between the eastern and western regions.
Good performance, sis. Did you see him?
No, I didn't see a cute guy in the audience today either.
No, I mean him. Our sworn enemy, Balzac?
Sorry, come again with that name?
You're so popular. I want you to stay longer, but I don't want to interfere with your pursuit of revenge.
Yes, these two sisters, Nara and Mara, are hunting down the man who killed their father, the evil Balzac. Sorry to interrupt again, but I understand it's probably supposed to be pronounced Balzac, but come on, this guy's name sounds like f***ing Balzac, so that is what he will be referred to from here on out. But again, yes, the twins have been traveling for some time looking for this man. Mara, the older sister, is a beautiful dancer, while the younger sister Nara is a wise fortune teller. Their father, Edgar, was an alchemist, and that Chode Balzac was his apprentice. Edgar had just discovered something called the secret of evolution. He was then promptly murdered by Balzac, who stole Edgar's discovery. Rumor has it, though, that a man calling himself an alchemist has overthrown the king of Kilion Castle. The girls make haste to investigate the lead, and on their way run into their father's other pupil, Orin. This beefcake helps the sisters march right up to Kilion Castle and bust down the locked door. And after scaring the new king's chancellor half to death with some gunpowder, the coward leads them straight to Balzac.
I remember you. You're Edgar's daughters. Edgar tried to destroy the secret of evolution, which he had accidentally discovered. What a fool. With it, he could have ruled the world.
Look at me. At my strength. At my superior body.
They give the monster a run for his money, besting him in battle, only for a new beast, calling itself Kilion, appears and nearly kills them. The name of the castle is Kilion, and the name of this new monster/king is also Kilion. It's confusing, but this thing incapacitates Edgar's pupils, with them then waking up in a jail cell later on. They quickly escape through the big-ass hole in the wall of the jail cell, but the Kilion guard spots them, with Orin holding them all off single-handedly while the girls escape. They use a boarding pass given to them by this old man who shared their cell to escape the country, sailing all the way to the castle town of Endor. This small, secluded village far in the eastern mountains is home to a society of people who never leave this village and never interact with the outside world until...
Ross, my dear child, take this lunch to your father at the pond. He's fishing.
This kid has been told his whole life that if he wants to go outside the village, he needs to be much stronger. So he continues to live out his peaceful life training for that special day.
Good morning, Ross. It feels so good to rest like this. Ross, I hope we can stay friends forever.
After delivering the lunch to his father, the kid trots back home to his mother.
Monsters finally found this village. They'll be here any second.
Oh no. Ross, flee now. Don't worry about me.
Follow me.
Ross, if anything happens to you, hide. Hurry. I'll be there soon.
Listen well, Ross. The monsters seek to end your life. You are a threat to them. Born with a hidden power, you have the potential to become strong enough to destroy any evil being, but you're still weak. Escape and survive. Understand?
Ross, I've enjoyed growing up with you. Don't worry, I won't let them take your life. Goodbye, Ross.
Necrosaro, we've destroyed Ross the hero.
Well done. Everyone, return to our base.
Our hero emerges from the bunker to see the wreckage of his once peaceful life. Total silence. Everyone this boy once knew is gone. I don't think I felt anything like this throughout the series so far. These people, even children, sacrificed themselves to protect the hero. And with nowhere else to go, he follows the advice he was given. He has to get stronger. As he travels down the mountain, he comes across Bronca Castle, but word has already spread that the hero has fallen, causing parties of heroes to form up and brave the world in an attempt to fight back the resurrection of the evil one. It's pretty cool. This is one of the things that I said 3 could have done better. Have the constant threat of the main villain loom larger over the inhabitants of this world. The hero stumbles across a man-made cave that seems to connect the east and west continents. On the other side of this cave, the hero stumbles into the castle town of Endor. Inside, a young woman is reading fortunes.
I see 7 lights around you. They are small now, but they will soon grow. What? You are the hero? I've been searching for you! The one with the untapped power to defeat the evil ones? Let's go! My sister Mara should be at the casino.
Kinda just going along with the flow, the hero follows this girl.
I knew you'd be here.
Oh.
You spend all the money I earn on gambling. We're broke.
I'm sorry. Huh? Who is this?
This is the hero we've been searching for.
How nice. You can take care of us from now on, right?
From this point on, the story sort of adopts a similar structure to Dragon Quest III. The party heads back to the east and finds a man who has a horse-drawn carriage. Her name is Primrose. Good pony. They travel to the town of Conenburg, hearing that they need help ridding a nearby lighthouse of monsters so ships can leave the port. In the tower, they come across Taloon, who tried to take out the monsters inside, but requests the party take over from here. When they get back to Conenburg, Taloon asks to join the party. Then from there, they sail to Mintos, where they run into even more familiar faces.
One of my traveling companions is gravely ill. Our mistress, Princess Salina, went to get medicine alone. I'm very worried. You look kind. Will you find Princess Salina and help her?
The town where this miracle root is supposed to grow has seen better days, with the party having to spelunk in a cave to find the last remaining seed for the root to grow. They come across Alina as well, who has found a party of her own to save the world. But the root is gathered and Christo is saved.
Huh? Princess!
You're fine, Christo.
I'm ashamed. I'm the one who should be looking after you.
Don't worry, Christo. Now, let's journey to find Necrosaro. What's the matter, huh?
I heard Necrosaro destroyed the hero's village. Is Ross the...
Really? Then we should journey together.
The group finds themselves back at Kelion Castle and they run into Healy, a traveler who tells them of the soldier Ragnar who is locked inside the castle and needs to be rescued. After finding the means to enter the castle, the party quickly finds Ragnar fighting off the guards. He joins the party and together they put an end to Kelion's reign. Shortly afterwards, they hunt down Balsac, finding him now at Santeem Castle.
Edgar's daughter, you've come. I didn't expect to fight with you again. Look at me. I've changed beyond recognition, haven't I? I'm Balzac. Even Necrosaro, the master. No, even Necrosaro is no match for me. Come, you foolish, weak humans.
After a short battle, the grotesque nutsack is put down.
It's impossible. My body, supposedly invincible, is terribly wounded. But As long as the secret of evolution exists, I will never fall.
The experiment seems to have failed. We must report to Necrosaro.
The golden bracelet is necessary to perfect the secret of evolution. When we obtain the golden bracelet and perfect the secret of evolution, our time, the time of the evil force, will come!
After this revelation, and by reading a signpost that Alina's dad left, they head to Stancia Castle to inquire about the Xenothinians. But first they have to make this king laugh because he wants to make sure the world is capable of being joyful or some other shit.
What's black and white and red all over? A penguin falling down the stairs. Isn't that funny?
No! It's not funny. That's animal abuse. The party learns that Xenothinians lived long ago in a castle in the clouds. But for someone to gain access to the castle, they would need to collect the 4 pieces of Xenothinian equipment. But before setting off to find that shit, the party settles down for the night in the town of Izmit, where our hero begins to have a vivid dream.
Rosa, have you been a good girl?
Zero.
Rosa, I've decided to exterminate all of mankind. The world will soon see its end. Until my ambition is fulfilled, you stay here.
Wait, Zero! Someone please stop Zero, or the world will cease to exist. Please, someone, listen to me.
This message comes from Rosa, an elven girl who is kept in a tower in Rosaville. I'm sure that name is a coincidence. But this elven girl is said to cry precious rubies as tears. This has made her legend quite enticing for humans looking to get rich. After finding the means to enter her secret tower, Rosa explains to the party,
The world is about to be obliterated by the monsters. The ruler of the monsters is Zero. He's renamed himself Necrosaro and intends to use the secret of evolution to become even more formidable. I don't want him to continue on this evil path, even if it means ending his life.
During the process of gathering up the Xenothinian equipment, the party finds their way into Necrosaro's castle of monsters. By disguising themselves among the creatures, the gang is able to eavesdrop on their next big move.
Esther, the ruler of evil, seems to have revived. We must go to Actemto now. We'll bring Esther the Great to our castle.
Our heroes head straight to that chasm and face off with the once great ruler of evil, but they catch him partway through his resurrection, so he's dispatched pretty easily.
I can't believe it. Esther the Great was destroyed? According to the prophecy, only the hero, a descendant of Xenothinians, is capable of defeating the ruler. Are you the...
Necrosaro, we have bad news. Your Rosa, the elven girl, has been abducted by humans.
What? Curses! Everyone, we must return to our base.
And then the hero decided to go back to the inn, specifically in Izmit, just to sleep in the bed. Oh no, we're dreaming now. Oh, I'm getting so sleepy.
Cry. Shed ruby teardrops. Cry harder. Harder!
Rosa, what have you done to her?
Zero, you've come for me. Please listen to my last words. Please give up your obsession and come with me.
Rosa? Those humans, I will let them suffer for this. I promise.
The hero's party, with the Xenothinian equipment in hand, make their way to the tallest structure in the land, which leads them to the cloudy gates of Xenothinia. Everyone then comes face to face with Master Dragon, the being who rules over Xenothinia and stopped Esturk long ago. The Grand Ruler bestows his power to the hero and asks that they take the plunge into the world of evil to put a stop to Necrosaro once and for all.
Who are you? I am Necrosaro. I am just awoken as the ruler of evil. Can't remember anything, but I know what I need to do. I must exterminate you all.
Necrosaro's body continues to morph and adapt to the fight, but the power of the Chosen Ones is too much even for the secret of evolution.
Is this my end? I'm burning. My body is melting away.
With the ruler of evil dead and gone, the world of evil begins to crumble away. The party would have been in some serious trouble had it not been for a last-minute save by Master Dragon.
Ross, the hero, a Xethinia and human descendant, Thanks to you and your friends, the secret of evolution, along with Necrosaro, has been driven deep down into the abyss of the world. With the threat gone, peace will rule the world again. The 8 chosen ones, I thank each of you. Ragnar, your performance was splendid. Elena, you performed with bravery and courage. Bray and Christo, I commend your devotion to Elena, and your contribution to the quest. Mara and Nara, I'm sure your father would be proud of you. Talon, continue to benefit the world and its people with your genius in trade. And Ross, you've proven to be an extraordinary leader. You won't have to return to Earth. I shall allow you to live with us in the Zenthinian castle. What's wrong? You wish to return to the Earth with them? Very well. I'll honor your wish. The friendship which has grown among you during this journey is so firm. No one can ruin it, Ross, I assure you.
And with that, the party sets off to return to their lives as usual. Bray and Christo return Alina to Santeem safe and sound so she can be with her father. Ragnar reunites with his king, likely getting some sort of Knight of the Year award because holy shit, this man went above and beyond the call of duty. Talon returns to his shop in Endor and gets to see his wife and son again. Mara and Nara return to tell their father that they really did it, and then live out their days dancing and telling fortunes in Monbara. And finally, our hero, with no one left, makes his return to the quiet mountain village he once called home, to enjoy the peace that he helped carve out for the world. Okay, now we're really getting into RPG story territory. This was probably the first time in the series that I was somewhat invested in the story. The biggest point in Dragon Quest IV's favor are the characters. By God, we have actual characters that speak and have personal stories to tell. I also don't think I noticed it in the last game, but we have definitely moved past the ye old English speak that we started with. No more dost thous, and no more have at these. The people in this world actually speaketh like normal damn people. Some of our characters may not be as in-depth as others. Ragnar in Chapter 1 didn't have much of a personality or anything to say. He was great at setting up the intrigue of kids going missing and the evil one, but Ragnar, as a character, didn't have a lot to offer. And even after rescuing him in Chapter 5, he continued to be pretty one-note. He's a loyal knight and a good dude, very similar to the other Dragon Quest protags in hindsight. Same with Bray and Christo. They don't have much to do outside of Chapter 2. I'm very thankful that they have a few lines in Chapter 5 when Christo gets sick, but beside that, I get the feeling they're just 2 extra party members to choose from. The women of the game actually have some of the more noteworthy stories to tell. Alina is constantly told that something is wrong with her for being the way that she is. She's not interested in behaving how the archetypical princess should. This causes those in the kingdom, even those who genuinely care about her, to wish she was just normal. This pushes her to want to go out and see the world or test her strength or whatever. But in my eyes, she wants to leave Santeem Castle in search of people who love her for her authentic self. That's a universal story that isn't even tied to someone trying to find a place to fit in. The Princess of Endor, who is to be married to whoever wins her father's tournament, could be seen in the same light. A princess who has no say in her own love life, all because of her father's stupid whims. But if you talk to the King of Endor in Chapter 2 before the tournament, he asks that Alina win the tournament because he regrets the marriage arrangement. But you're the king. Just change the prize, dude. You're going to let your daughter marry a scumbag all because you have a personal no-takes-backsies policy? What a bitch. But back on track. The Princess of Endor wants Alina to win so she won't have to marry someone she doesn't truly love. But as you talk to her during your stay, she gives you subtle hints that she kinda likes Alina. Now, I can't speak on behalf of the gay community of the late 80s, but I can imagine they felt similarly to Alina. And maybe the Princess of Endor.
Thanks to you, I won't have to marry someone I despise. If Princess Alina was a man... What am I saying? Please forget what I said.
2 women couldn't actually have romantic feelings for each other. That's ridiculous. This is all just played for a joke. Christo is obviously a simp for Alina, and the Princess of Endor's wedding literally lasts until the end of the game. But when I widen my lens, I personally see a lot of signs of someone who wants to show the world who they truly are. Alina had the courage to do so, with maybe the Princess of Endor envying that just a little bit. But I did say somewhat invested a moment ago for a reason, because yeah, we're not quite there yet. As much as I love the changes to the protagonist with actual names and stories, I am baffled by the decision to make these interesting characters mute when we're controlling them. Ragnar makes some sense. He's alone for most of his adventure. He could just be the strong silent type. But Alina? She has 2 companions that speak regularly enough that she should be talking back and forth with them, especially Christo. But the first time she really speaks isn't even in her own chapter. It's in the ice cave when the hero's party finds her with the other party in chapter 5. At the beginning, when her father is telling her that she is forbidden from traveling outside the castle walls. Total blank stare. Same thing with Taloon. He is the jolly, well-meaning father figure who has a menial job that he begrudgingly does so he can one day live out his dream. Why the f is he staring at his son with no emotion when the kid is screaming about how much he loves his dad and wants to be just like him when he grows up? It can make all of the characters feel so robotic when they don't interact with the world that now has so much more life. I get that it's been a thing since the first game to have a silent protagonist, but our characters have names now. They have cities of origin, families, personalities. Back in the other games, you were expected to fill in the gaps because there was literally nothing there. Children back in the 80s were free to give their characters personalities, backstories, see themselves in those protagonists. But in DQ4, that leeway is gone. Our characters are already their own people. Taloon's dream is to be the greatest merchant ever, but we never see him say that to anyone. Instead, to get that info, you have to walk around and hear citizens in Lakanaba tell that back to him after he said it off screen at some point. And the reason this is so frustrating is because they do talk when you meet them all in chapter 5. And the most disappointing to me, this found family has no interactions with each other. The characters have their own interpersonal drama that is the basis for their chapters, but they never talk with each other to discuss how they might be similar. Ragnar never talks with the twins about how they lost their father. Alina never asks Taloon about his son and how it's important for him to be who he wants to be, maybe piggybacking off of her own experience with her father. Ragnar never has a heart-to-heart with the hero about the children he saved to get to him. The only thing we get is when each character first speaks with the hero. Alina and Mara and Nara have decent things that pertain to the plot, but the guys?
You can't stop me! I finally found the hero I've been searching for. You fit the description I heard at the House of Prophecies.
Then he joins up as the stoic ass kicker.
Oh, I don't know who you are, but you've come at the right time.
And then, after we help solve his problem...
I've one favor to ask of you. Monsters are after me. I'd feel safer being with strong people like you. Let me join you. Let's travel together all over the world.
And that's it. Those interactions are the only time they open their mouths in the game. No comments on anything in the world, no comments on the other people they travel with. We'll certainly be hearing more from Taloon later on down the line. Wink wink, nudge nudge. I just wish we could have had more of their personalities here before taking control of the hero. Speaking of the hero, that opening, man, it gave me everything I needed from the hero. He didn't need any more dialogue because I know everything I need to know. He is the chosen hero of prophecy. He was never told how important he was. Everyone he's ever known just died to protect him. So heartbreaking, but so much more interesting. Similarly, Nara and Mara have dialogue during their chapter. They both talk to people, not all the time, but when it makes sense for the damn story, they have dialogue with people, and they have some of the most visible personalities as a result. Who would have thought? It's also what makes the villain more interesting too. Necrocero isn't going to go down as a great RPG villain or anything, but he certainly has more going on when compared to the Dragon Lord, Hargon, or Zoma. My biggest question though, why does he just tell Rosa that he's going to wipe out humanity? Was she getting bullied beforehand? That would explain some anger, I guess, but from our POV, he just opens the door to the tower and slides up like Stalter and Waldorf from the Muppets.
Hey babe, I'm gonna go eradicate a species.
For what? Did they lie and call you pretty?
If the dreams were glimpses into the past and Rosa was killed long ago, it would make sense why Sarah wants revenge. Maybe that's exactly what did happen, I was just a little unclear. But also, why the hell was Necrocero entering the tournament in Act 2 to marry the Princess of Endor to begin with? Is he a cheating bastard? Is Rosa in a toxic relationship? He couldn't have entered just to kill people. Unless he's trolling, there had to be a better way to start the extermination of humanity, right? I really appreciated how we started hearing about things that wouldn't come into play until Chapter 5 way earlier in the story. Dragon Quest IV does a great job at fleshing out its world. Using each of the party members as chauffeurs into the different corners of the world gives you a sense of familiarity with each landmark castle. You really do feel a kind of connection to each character's starting town or castle that you never felt in the other games. Take Santeem Castle for example. It's Alina's safe place in the beginning of the game, but if you come back to it in Chapter 5 when you get the boat, it's crawling with high-level monsters and the lights are turned off. You really feel that this kingdom has well and truly been destroyed. The game still never explained where all of the residents of Santeem Castle went between the end of Chapter 2 and the credits sequence where his kingliness is back safe and sound. Okay then, glad he's safe and sound, but I would have loved to know more. It's astonishingly great world building for the series, and even the NES as a system, I would say. At first, I really didn't know how I felt about the chapter setup, but after the first few, I realized how much potential this had. I know you guys are probably sick of hearing me say this, but it's the most streamlined Dragon Quest has been thus far. Each chapter is usually only a handful of towns on top of a very consolidated play area, but this keeps the progression so focused that I rarely ever had to wonder about where I needed to go. And there are still so many opportunities to explore and find optional content that will make your journey through the chapters more painless. But dividing the content up by protagonist and chapter really keeps everything clear. You know that Leland from Chapter 3 isn't going to be worrying about the jumping shoes that Ragnar got in Chapter 1, so that's never even a possibility in your head. It's the best possible solution to the problem that DQ2 had, where you had so many quest items that you became overwhelmed by all of those potential solutions. I left out a lot of the process in my story summary, but the investigative gameplay is at its most approachable here. There is always an NPC to talk to who can point you in the right direction, or in the case where there isn't, there is always an obvious nearby cave or path that you haven't walked. I am so happy to tell you all that this is the first Dragon Quest game that I completed without looking up a single thing. I didn't need to consult a manual, a guide, nothing. Thank God we finally have a map. The map feature really helped, and I mean, it's about damn time we got a world map. It helps to document and organize the places I've already explored. It's because of the map that I found a completely optional side quest. Yeah, maybe the first one in the series. I'd need a fact check on that in the comments, but when I was exploring around in Chapter 5, I came across this cave with water flowing down all the walls. Had no idea what to do in here, so I left. Then later, on one of the western islands, I came across Seaside Village. You can find the Stone of Drought by searching in the sand, and by using that stone in the cave of water I found earlier, I got the Sand Glass of Regression. It's an item that apparently lets you redo a turn in battle, but I didn't feel like giving that kind of power to any of my characters to use whenever they feel is best because... yeah. But the main point here is my notes were just as long as DQ3's notes, but I was able to make it to the end very comfortably. There were a few instances of that Dragon Quest alumni knowledge from last time. In the first boss battle with Ball Boy, Nara and Mara have to flash the Orb of Silence to weaken him in a very similar way to the Sphere of Light being used on Zoma. But here, the Sphere of Silence is said to explicitly be the key to beating Testicle Pouch. There were one or two moments where you would need to use a key on a dark space, but you could always find a way to view the obscured door from another area on the map. Every clue you're given is clear and easy to plug the solution into once you find it. The days of fishing through all of your characters' inventories for the correct key to open each different type of door is also over. If you have the key in your inventory, you still have to use the door command, but it will just open. The map feels like the smallest map we've gotten since the original Dragon Quest, but I genuinely can't tell if that's because it's actually smaller or if it's just because the game puts that much more focus on its corners to make sure very few places feel foreign. Dragon Quest IV is cutting up your steak before it feeds it to you, making sure there's no fuss in chewing it or leaving a piece too big. Now, would I want the remainder of the series to be broken up in this way? That's a tough one. If it's kept as interesting as it is here with the variety of characters and stories we're thrust into, to, sure, but I also think this formula could get stale if it's overplayed. Segmenting the game every time could lead to the chapters blending together if the gameplay isn't shaken up enough. We'll just have to see how this is handled down the line, but for now, I like the chapter structure.
What about the battle system?
Hey! Oh, look at how pretty this game is! The land we travel in is also beautiful this time around. You would expect an NES game released in 1990 to look better than an NES game released in 1986, but yeah, I mean it does. The environments are second to none this time around. The NES era of Dragon Quest certainly went out with some pizzazz. Obvious stuff like the new enemy sprites have seen the improvements we expect by this point. Thurvos look like the gremlin enemy types from 2, only with a scrunched up face. These Dragon Rider enemies in particular look awesome, and there were a few other notable new faces. But I'm too distracted by the enemies that actually move during the fights. Since the original game, we've only ever faced static, unflinching sprites. The art is always good, as we've seen, but besides a palette swap for a boss mid-battle, they don't move. I've gotten used to this personally, but for someone who's used to more modern RPGs, they see this battle screen and probably go,
DC! Wake up!
So imagine my surprise when a few of the enemies have some pep in their step. Mostly just these fire sprites when you attack them will fly up into the air and simulate the physical attack missing them. The imposter enemies threw me for a loop. On their first turn, these guys will transform into one of your active party members. And if you run into 4 of them, you could be staring down the barrel of a mirror match. Thank God this doesn't confuse the automated party members even more in battle. But then you have the big ones like Necrocero transforming mid-fight. The party knocks off his limbs as the fight go on, and he totally morphs after his head is knocked off too. But the coolest one by far was the appearance of the King Slime. I only encountered him once, but when a sweep of like 8 slimes appear, they can all merge together to become the King Slime. It wasn't a difficult fight or anything, but I thought this was so cool. Not to mention all of the new special animations NPCs have. It's never much, but it's things like knights patrolling in a set pattern, and if they catch you, you get kicked out. In the evil world, these statue enemies will move as you move, so you have to figure out a way to make them block each other's path. When the player character uses the return or outside spells, they now lift up into the sky. Necrocero does it once, and even one of his minions attempts it when inside the infested lighthouse.
Kiki, where's Talon? I've been waiting to ambush him. I heard he was coming to the lighthouse. He must have gotten scared and heading back to town. I'll go there, get him. Kiki!
It's just really cool to see the games get a little more animated as we move on. Overworld visuals are also the best they've ever looked. Well, the fields look about the same. The forests, mountains, and castles generally look as they always have. I'm more so referring to the moments when we head inside the dungeons. Traveling inside the giant Colossus robot that takes the party across the sea was awesome. You start outside of it, and the scale is conveyed pretty damn effectively. Walking out onto its hands was cool to see too. And then the dungeon in the mines of Actemto had an impressive amount of depth simulated. Just before entering Esturk's underground castle, you can see this cavern stretch back out. Very impressive to see this on the NES. There is a dungeon that takes place entirely within a world tree this time. The party has to walk on its branches and leaves to navigate every layer, and there are even a few unique towns we visit. Most are the ordinary towns we've seen prior, but the castle of Stancia and the small town of Riverton are unique because they're traversed with a boat inside the town. To get to the shops or even the Queen's Castle in Stancia's case, you have to sail into the buildings. I thought that was so cool. Surprisingly, I didn't get any comments on the last video for not being head over heels for 3's soundtrack. Again, didn't hate it, I just didn't hear as many catchy tunes. But my goodness, if it wasn't the opposite for 4's OST. This soundtrack might not be my favorite, it's to be determined after a few more listens, but it definitely has some of my new favorite individual tunes. The dungeon theme struck that brilliant balance between bouncy and cautious adventure. The casino feels immediately warm and welcoming when you walk inside, and I love that, but that's probably just to encourage me to spend more of my money. Alina's theme sounds like the inner conflict of wanting to be the perfect princess, but also be her rough and tough self. Genuinely great use of music. And this tower theme needs to be the tower theme for like the rest of the series because this shit is just so groovy. There's even more wonderful, mood-setting music in the game, but I think you get the idea. Sugiyama-san absolutely knocked it out of the park with this one. I cannot wait to hear what he cooks up on the next generation of hardware. But okay, I think I've calmed down enough. Let's talk about the battle system. Most can agree that the last game's battle system was the pinnacle of the series thus far. The unbridled freedom players were given to customize a party of heroes was revolutionary. And even if I didn't experience it in the NES version, my run through the HD version showed me how much further multi-classing can push that, combining abilities from other classes to train up really versatile RPG classes. Nakamura and Hori were very proud of the system the team was able to cook up, and for good reason. It was great, and Dragon Quest IV's first 5 or 6 hours of play are very comparable to the previous games. Each of our characters has their own class. Taloon, he's a merchant. No, we can't find extra gold or appraise weapons on the field like the merchant in 3. I never used that in 3 though, so we've lost nothing if you ask me. Bray is a wizard. He learns offensive magic and environmental spells too. Ragnar is our soldier. Those are all well and good, but some of the characters have new classes that seem to have been made specifically for them. Like Alina is a princess class character. I'm not sure what the stat differences are specifically, but I noticed how easily she got critical hits, so that pushed me to make her my makeshift fighter. And then Nara was a fortune teller, and Mara was a dancer. Hector here is a young male class. Again, not so sure about the stats specifically, but Nara can hit hard with physical attacks, but also has healing magic, making her and Christo sort of in the same category as pilgrims from last time. Similar to how Mara was more about her magical offense like Bray, making her more analogous to a wizard class. Because of this, throughout chapters 1 through 4, you're forced to play with and become familiar with each of the characters. You get to control each of them and play 4 small versions of something like DQ2 with a fixed small party. These sections were a lot of fun. I really enjoyed these bite-sized chunks of Dragon Quest. And then a few hours into chapter 5, thanks to our young male friend Hector, we gain access to Primrose and the carriage. Every party member is now with the player when not in dedicated dungeons or towns. Yeah, we don't have the same customization options we did in DQ3. There is no more multi-classing, but I don't mind this. Everyone has their own classes, and after around the halfway point, I would say, you get to assemble your own team with the characters you've been getting to know. If you want a magic-focused team or a melee-focused team, you have to find those characters first, but your team comp is still up to you in the end. Personally, my favorite aspect of this is having access to everyone's spells at any time. A larger MP pool, more healing spells, easier grind. You should know the deal by now. The grind was never too much, thankfully. I only felt the need to grind a few times throughout the game, and it wasn't even necessarily because I was statistically weaker, it was to cover the faults of something else. The encounter rate did seem to spike up here in several areas. It got to the levels of Dragon Quest II on occasion. I could barely round a corner in some dungeons without running into 4 or 5 battles. I suppose that is one way to keep my levels up, but damn it! If a more unforgiving encounter rate is the price I pay for continuing to have full restore checkpoints and longer dungeons, I'll take that in a heartbeat. These things continue to offer the same kind of relief I felt on my first playthrough of Dark Souls 1 when I stumbled upon a secluded bonfire. The game finds a balance between dungeon crawling and the investigation aspect that has become a staple of the series, but we'll talk more on that in a bit. There will be several moments in the earlier chapters where side characters will join the main party for a short time. These party members cannot have their equipment tampered with, they cannot gain experience to increase their level, they do not get stronger, and most importantly, you do not control these characters. These characters will act without player input in battles. It all begins when Ragnar comes across a heal slime named Healy. I love this little thing. All he did was heal me when I got on low health, and he made the final fight of Chapter 1 much more comfortable, but Healy can't mend any wounds after random encounters because, again, I don't have control over Healy. I even tried to see if I can give him some equipment, but what happened? Ragnar holds the boomerang in his other hand. Side note, I was so excited to see a boomerang in this game. I loved being able to attack groups of enemies with my physical fighters in the Dragon Quest III HD remake, but I was disappointed here. Boomerangs only attack one single enemy in Dragon Quest IV, and it's the same thing for whips. It's cool that they're here, but I guess we'll get that functionality later on. Oh well, but back to Ragnar and Healy. He acts totally on his own, and this continues for plenty of the characters. Nara and Mara find Orin, a powerhouse who can knock shit over when it needs to happen, but Orin has to decide when that will be. Same deal as Hector, but honestly, this makes sense, right? Those aren't player characters. They were always meant to be, I don't want to say throwaway characters, but characters that wouldn't be as important as the chosen ones that we play as. I was so excited in Chapter 5 when I had control of the hero and I ran into Nara. I was thinking, oh, hell yes, I'm going to get the ability to choose my ultimate party from all of these awesome party members that I've been playing as. This is like the best of both worlds, only for me to get into my first random battle with the twins by my side, select the hero's attack, and then Nara and Mara selected an attack for themselves. Oh boy! As I go, I find the rest of the squad, and the characters that I spent so much time with, characters I grinded money and experience for to get the best weapons and armor, are now acting on their own. And when it matters the most, acting incorrectly. Nakamura went on record saying that DQ3 had the most fully developed battle system of all the games so far. Keeping that system the same and just changing the story was one option, but no one at Enix or Chunsoft wanted to do that. Hooray then continued, "We were worried about changing the manual control battle system which players had become used to in the previous Dragon Quest, but I believe the AI system we created came out very well. The automated battle system. Every positive talking point and every moment that makes me ask, are you f***ing serious, comes back to this one change. It feels like the first love it or hate it aspect of a Dragon Quest game, and personally, I don't like it. Okay, positives. For grinding, the automated battles do make things go by slightly quicker. When running around in circles just to grind experience, being able to take your hand off the wheel and let the game take over it's nice. The problem of the party members swinging at dead enemies is still an issue for the characters that you control, but the AI seems to have the foresight to choose what they do, because they will never swing at dead enemies, which either means they are that smart, which I highly doubt, or they get to choose their action right before it's taken, not at the beginning of my turn. Okay, that's kinda cool. There were times when the AI party members would heal me at the end of our turn. I didn't need to be healed until I was damaged on this turn, so they must choose what action they perform right before they do it. That would be cool, only I think they have selective intelligence. Because for the few moments where they seemed to bend the rules for me like that, there were all of the other times where it felt like they had rocks for brains. The biggest issue with the automated battle system that I will continue to come back to, say it with me kids, I don't have control. AI party members will heal allies that get below a certain threshold of health. This is good for grinding, where I only have to hammer the attack button and the game will farm experience for me. This is fine. But when a boss fight ramps up, they don't have the ability to gauge when a boss's super attack will kill a party member before they cross that threshold that alerts the AI to heal someone. I can see that super attack coming, which puts me on healing duty, spamming heal us all in the last fight because my healer over there is dicking around for the 5th turn in a row. When I have control of Nara and Mara in Chapter 4 and Orin is controlled by the AI, he consistently attacks the enemy that I've already told Mara to nuke. You would think that since they don't have to lock in their turn, they would let them attack whatever enemy I haven't targeted. It's why I'm running from encounters that don't have enemies grouped up. If the majority of the enemies in a fight aren't able to be targeted by a group spell or something for quick XP? No, I'm getting the hell out of Dodge because this uncontrollable party member isn't going to waste my MP, or worse, cause me to wipe in the middle of a dungeon. And keep in mind, that's just random battles. When the AI gets into a boss fight where you need to be on your A game, it can get insufferable. Nakamura says, even a human player, when you first encounter new enemies, will sometimes make mistakes. So yes, your allies might do weird stuff at first, but as you fight that enemy again and again, they'll get smarter. Eventually, they shouldn't make any more numbskull moves. They shouldn't. They shouldn't, right? This is Nara casting sleep on a boss that is no joke. She burns pretty much all of her MP on trying to put this guy to sleep. Obviously it won't work, Nara. Hit the motherfucker. What? Why did Alina just try to use a wyvern wing in the middle of a boss fight? You can't run from fights, you idiots! Just hit him! You can change your team's tactics in fights, but it's team-wide. You can't have certain characters assigned to certain tactics. Here, I changed our tactic to save MP, so Christo wouldn't blow our healing reserves on stop spelling a single random enemy.
So let me get this straight. Dumbass!
Christo in general has a fetish for the beat spell and will cast it on anything that breathes, over and over, even when it hasn't worked the last 6 times. If you give a character an item that has an effect in battle, they will often use it as well. Most of the time, it's fine. I found the Staff of Thunder, and using it in battle would strike enemies with lightning. But again, these pea-brains cannot be paying attention. Metal slimes are back, big shocker. We ran into a metal babble, and Alina kept using the Staff of Magma, which usually hurts all enemies in the battle with low damage anyway, but metal enemies are immune to magic! And it's not like she used it once and then learned that. She continued to use it over and over. The game must have felt bad for me because this metal babble didn't run after like 6 turns. I got the experience boost, but it did not feel like I earned it. And in this example, Ragnar was low and I wanted the hero to heal him. So I changed our team's tactic to offensive so Christo would just attack the enemy and leave the healing to me. But oop, he healed Ragnar anyway, so we both wasted MP and a turn for the hero, who is the biggest damage dealer.
Don't give me that look!
Again, there's no way for the game to know what I want to do. I realize this. That just means that this system is always doomed to be just a little frustrating in moments where you can't just hammer the attack button. But the solution for the AI not giving you what you want is pretty easy. Just walk outside and start getting those levels up. Hey, if the boss is getting the better of you, the easiest way to bypass the faults of the AI battle system is to just beef your characters up so much that it doesn't matter what actions they take, right? But then this whole process just waters down the entire point of an RPG, doesn't it? Damn, these enemies look really cool. I wonder if I'll have to be careful while fighting them. I would if I had control of my party, but the AI takes over the fight for me. A heal slime entered the battle by being called by a friend. Nara attacked it with her turn, even though that heal slime wouldn't have been targetable if I was controlling her. It's convenient, yeah, but it also takes a lot of the play out of this game. Thank God I have the speed up function, because if I had to sit here and watch the game play itself at original speed, I would have gone mad with boredom. It's also why I can't rely on magic users in this game. Magic is the most in-depth element of the battle system. You have to be able to understand when it's appropriate to increase defense, use buy kill to increase a party member's strength, heal party members. Does it work sometimes? Sure it does. It works fine most of the time. And when Christo or Mara heals a party member right as they get injured, it really does feel like you have a well-oiled machine on your hands. When the characters are acting without your input, they feel more like real participants in a life or death fight. The way in which they immediately react to a change on the battlefield keeps me engaged, or at the very least saying, hey, that's kind of cool. But that's not really conducive to a turn-based battle system where planning and strategy matter. If it doesn't matter what I pick because the AI is busy trying to outwit itself, what am I left doing? This. I'm left hammering the attack button, waiting for the game to finish itself. There are still moments where someone's health will get low or a spell is needed, so I'll choose a different action, but after Chapter 5, when the hero becomes the only playable character, battles become a lot less engaging. And as I've pointed out, the AI has a tough time making these executive decisions anyway, so that's why I couldn't rely on magic. My party was the hero, Alina because she could always score critical hits easily, so again, it's like I had my fighter. Ragnar was the warrior who could also deal big damage. There was only one action for the AI to take here, attack, so it was very consistent. And then for my fourth party member, I flip-flopped between Christo and Nara. They could both heal when they felt like it, so it was a good backup in case the hero couldn't take his turn to heal someone immediately. But this loss in control is exactly what I was worried it would be. When things get heated and I want one character on healing duty, one character attacking, and one character swapping back and forth, the system has no way of knowing that. It's my strategy. It's how I want to play the game. But that isn't how Dragon Quest IV rolls. From what I can tell, the conceit of the AI battle system was to cut down on the grind and make the characters the star of the show, for better and for worse. But also, from the information I can find, it honestly feels like the team at Chunsoft flexing their muscles and seeing what they can pull off. It's somewhat of a test. Do any of the battles in Dragon Quest IV really require the kind of player control that I want? Some of them do. Balzac's second form was a bit of a challenge, and Necrocero took some tinkering, but for the vast majority of fights, no. We still have the same old bullshit like enemies casting defeat on my entire party and there's still nothing I can do about it. But none of these battles present any new challenges to the player, which, to be fair, Nakamura recognizes as a flaw. I think we didn't quite capture that feeling of being a general and strategically directing the combat. Hooray corroborated this feeling. There wasn't a lot of time for trial and error once we had completed AI, unfortunately. Only when it was finished did we have a good picture of the strengths and weaknesses of the system, but by then, it wasn't easy to make radical revisions. The reason I've been phrasing many of these points as questions, which I then answer, is because this is just how I feel about this new shift in Dragon Quest battles. In the previous video, you may have remembered how Dragon Quest III HD started the player off in an auto battle state. You can let the AI take over in 3 HD and speed through grinding. In fact, if this comment left by @nothingtothetable is anything to go by, plenty of people love the auto battle feature. I also know that I've been quoting Hooray and Nakamura more than I usually do in these videos, but I think it's important to hear their deliberation and how confident they are with their final decision. In the beginning, we did talk about the possibility of adding a manual control mode. We were sure that if we did that though, everyone would use it instead of the AI. So we took a chance and removed the manual mode option entirely. I do wonder sometimes if it would have been better to leave the manual mode in. This is a team that had refined their formula to a fine point. They had gone as far as they thought was possible with the traditional RPG battle system and wanted to keep it fresh. As we can see, this series is long, and creative people don't have the ability to be creative if they're pigeonholed to doing the same thing, making the same thing. They're bound to be unhappy with those restrictions. Hooray's main desire for DQ4 was to give these characters as much personality as he could, even if that stepped in front of the player's control of the characters to give them more defined personality. While I might not like this iteration of the AI battle system, and I don't think bashing your head against a spell until it works after 5 attempts is a personality worth having, Christo, I am glad it's here. It'll obviously continue to be a part of this series, and I also know that the manual battle system will return as well. So I can write my frustrations here off as the stumbling steps of an in-construction aspect of this franchise. There are a few more small distractions in this game besides the battle system before we call it for this video. Mini medals! I mean small medals! I guess I got my answer from last time pretty quickly. But yes, by using the search command on every drawer, every pot, every suspicious looking tile, the heroes can find small medals. They really start becoming a common occurrence around Chapter 5. This is nice because Chapter 5 is when you start to collect the party members left and right. And more party members means more slots to hold items. Yeah, everyone still only has 8 slots, so inventory space is still limited, no need to harp on it. But it's important here because of the small medals. If you have a high sense of curiosity, these medals are everywhere. And when you find this island in the northeast corner of the map, you can give them to this mini medal king guy who can exchange them for these great rewards. These don't reward every item if you collect the associated number of medals like the other games. It's an actual exchange this time. So if you want that metal babble helm, which I can only assume has the highest defense in the game, you should probably save every single small medal in the game. Same goes for the casino underneath the inn in Endor. You may have noticed how many times I brought it up in the story summary, but Endor is kind of like the main city in DQ4. Just about every character makes their way to the castle at some point before Chapter 5. And then it's the meetup spot for the hero and the first party members he recruits, Nara and Mara. But this means that every character has the opportunity to go downstairs at the inn and get to the casino. The currency in the casino is coins. Our heroes can buy in using their hard-earned gold, but then gamble to increase their winnings even further. Monster fights return. There are odds that will lean in one monster's favor, but I swear to God this shit is rigged. I went all in on 3 different bouts, and my monster was the first time to lose each time. The third fight should have been an easy win, but just as luck would have it... Oh, come on! Enough of that. I would rather sit down and gamble on a game of blackjack. Oh yeah, I suck at blackjack. I prefer to play the slots. Watch me get lucky as hell at this casino. Damn it. Nah, slots are nothing but luck no matter where you go. Because seriously, I spent a solid 10 minutes running these slots after buying 70 gold coins. I won big a couple of times, but this takes forever. Even when using the speed up feature. I mean, I'm sure having a metal babble shield would set me up for the rest of the game, but I can't be glued to this chair long enough to win 50,000 coins. I could just grind battles for the money, but the conversion rate for gold to casino coins is 20 gold pieces for 1 casino coin.
Spare change. Spare change, ma'am.
I eventually spent all my earnings after grinding late into Chapter 5 on coins and was able to buy 2 meteorite bracelets to increase some stats, but I'm not sure which ones to be honest. I'm sure it helped me hit harder somehow. You know, Taloon's campaign might have been a good place to start grinding this money out. Chapter 3 stands out from the other chapters. Not so much as far as the story goes, but Chapter 3 has a few paywalls that require Taloon to grind money in order to progress the current mission. To start, he has to go to work at a weapon shop every day. You really do play as the other end of an NPC vendor. People will come up to you and ask to buy things, and you can say yes and sell the weapon. They can ask to sell their weapon. And there are also special cases, like this guy can't equip the weapon he's buying, but you have to tell him that he can still buy it, and then he'll give it to his friend later on. I thought this was really cute and offered a little break before it's back to the regular Dragon Quest loop. But then, once you get the money to buy a weapon, you can go out and start grinding experience and money. Then later on, when you get to Endor, Taloon has to pay 35,000 gold for an old merchant shop as he's looking to retire. I thought the grind was going to be terrible, but Dragon Quest IV proves that it's learned its lessons about grinding. Firstly, you have a chance to run into a random encounter that just ends up being a traveling merchant. You can sell any of your collected weapons to him, and you can even buy any weapons he has to sell. Then, to the east of Endor, there's a cave with plenty of valuables. And at the end of the dungeon, there's a silver statue. This treasure can be taken to a collector back in Endor who will buy it for 25,000 gold. And the remaining 10k will come pretty easily if you're making trips back to Endor to pawn off the top tier loot you can find in that dungeon before you get the silver statue. Then, to fund the tunnel to the east at the end of the chapter, Taloon takes a job from the king. He has to collect a certain number of items, and the king will then reward 60,000 gold. These items are more likely to drop from enemies, but a few of the items can even be bought outright from other merchants in Chapter 3. That same quirkiness even follows us into the 2 current remakes for Dragon Quest IV. I won't be playing 2 versions of the same game anymore unless I feel like it really deserves it, but I'm more than happy to gloss over a few of the changes that these versions bring to the table, starting with the DS and mobile remakes. There is a post-game Chapter 6 that allowed Sero to join the party after Rosa somehow brings him back or something? I don't know. It looks really cool, and there seems to be a wacky post-game dungeon similar to the one that we saw in 3HD's post-game, but there are plenty of exclusive boss fights and new dungeons as well. So if you're looking for a version of this game that delivers everything that DQ4 delivers, but just more and better, I don't think you could go wrong with either DS, PS1, or even the mobile remakes. Apparently, the mobile version gives us a party talk feature, which would see the party members conversing and talking to each other more. And there is even a ROM hack / patch that adds the party talk from the mobile port into the DS version. So you get that smooth interface for menu navigation as well as that extra characterization. And if that's not enough incentive to give the remakes a shot, you can take full control of the battles in the remakes. Dragon Quest IV really does have some of the best variety thus far. It consistently has you doing something new, and that's appreciated. Throwing these curveballs keeps things fresh, and that's honestly a good way to view number 4. It's doing its best to keep the series fresh. The automated battle system didn't do it for me. It created way more problems than it solved, and giving up my control is a bigger ask than simply making the grinding more automated. I already have a way to automate the grinding. It's called mashing the button. The story was incredibly well done for what it is and the time it was released. It's likely one of the most engrossing narratives on the NES, but I think that a lot of the hallmarks of a great RPG come from seeing the characters in our party interact with each other, and unfortunately that simply doesn't happen here, and that bums me out. I'm going to pin it on the fact that we're still on the NES, and Dragon Quest IV is likely pushing this little box to its limits as is. In fact, Dragon Quest IV was printed on one of the largest NES cartridges available, 1 whole megabyte. A single gigabyte is approximately 1024 megabytes. Fretless, The Wrath of Rifson is 4.22 gigabytes. The battle system is certainly more involved than an NES game's battle system, but its story isn't nearly as grand as DQ4. I'm getting really off track and comparing apples to oranges either way, but I'm just trying to illustrate that we're getting there, and I appreciate the leap that DQ4 is for storytelling, even if I'm still looking forward to that next step. Dragon Quest IV is in the books. I would like to take this time to thank my $10 administrator account patrons, White Ghost 117 and Nikki Coon 99. Thank you guys so much for sticking with me. It really means the world to me. I can't say for sure when I'll be able to continue our journey due to some real life events that you guys will be keyed in on in just a few weeks. But rest be assured, I'm not stopping this ride until it's done. Next time in the Dragon Quest retrospective, we jump to the Super Nintendo. It's Dragon Quest V, baby.